So last year, like late last year, at the Toronto International Film Festival, we kind of got this package with all kinds of movies in it. Like these are the movies that are going to be premiering at Toronto International Film Festival in your genre, basically. And one of the standouts from that was The Girl in the Photographs. It's kind of a hard movie to say what it's about, because it's basically just an event that happens, and you're inside of that event for the next hour and a half. Basically, a girl is receiving photographs of other girls that appear to be murdered to death.
Yeah, that's it.
Kal Penn, I thought he was absolutely hilarious. Like, he plays this... just not even charismatic's not even the word. He's just absolutely full of himself to the point of excess or obsess, either way. So the girl is getting all of these photographs of these dead people, and as an artist, as a photographer, he's jealous that he didn't think of that as his idea. So now he wants to go to the town where this is happening, which just so happens to be the town that he's from, and steal this maniac's idea. He wants to take pictures of people that look like they're dead. He doesn't want to kill people, but he wants to take pictures of people that look like they're dead. There are some problems. Like there are some highlights are blown out a whole bunch. Yeah. Scenes that have like a big window behind it or something. Like inside of the room will look really good, but it'll just be a white fucking wall without there's not a big dynamic range, and a lot of you might not care about that, but it kind of stuck out to me.
It's like it always tempers something good or bad with the opposite, I feel like, because some of the visuals are a little shaky, but then some of the special effects look fucking phenomenal, and then sometimes the acting is super stiff, but then suddenly there's a really good line or delivery, and you're like, what is going on with this film? You're always a little off balanced with it, I feel, because it's never consistent in any way.
I actually really did like this film quite a bit, which is interesting because a lot of the word about it in general has been kind of negative. I liked the movie as I was watching it, and shortly thereafter, as I'm just sitting kind of reflecting on it, I kind of liked it even more. For the first time, like when you see like Wes Craven presents The Girl in the Photographs, and people that don't know any better think that it's a Wes Craven movie, it might actually feel like it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And then maybe that's why I don't know why, but maybe that's why he decided to get behind the project. He was like, this is something I would personally make.
I remember thinking at one point, I'd been watching the movie for a long time. Not a long time, but,
as long as the movie would allow.
Yeah, I've been watching the movie for a bit of time. And during that time, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, A, I'm digging this.
Okay.
B, this almost feels like an episode of a television show. Like, I don't know what television show that is, but there's not a lot of like gratuitous violence on scene. Like there's some nudity and stuff like that, but that could easily be, repositioned on like a television show or something. And I'm thinking this to myself, and right about the time I say that to myself, the intensity of the violence just goes through the fucking roof all of a sudden. Like there's a particular stabbing scene that is really intense. We won't give too much away, but it's shirtless stabbing. So like you can't mask a lot of the stuff that's going on here. Like you see everything, you hear everything, and I was impressed with that. There's also, there are other gags and violent sort of things as well. And while none of the characters are overly important, to be honest with you, but they all sort of serve their purpose in that point in time. You have all these little stereotypes, and none of them are overly deep or anything, but they work towards building something that I just found very... maybe fun's not the best word, because it is a horror movie, and it's not a horror comedy or anything like that, but it all worked.
I can't necessarily disagree with what you just said. It just didn't have the same effect on me. I didn't feel like any of the characters were fleshed out enough for, like you said, they didn't need to be per se, but I was left wanting just a little bit more, because as things went on, I was like, I don't know why that character is doing this. I don't really care why that character is doing this at that point. And as things progressed, I was like, I don't really care where this is going.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because we're both pretty much saying the exact same things.
Just different takes.
But we responded differently to those same things. I think that's interesting.
And that may be where the mixed reviews are coming, is because everyone's kind of getting the same message. It's just affecting everybody in a own unique way.
Truth be told, they're not... It's not some big, deep, profound meaning or anything. It's very much just a movie sculpted around a particular scenario. and that scenario is being noticed by the wrong individual.
I definitely can see where people are going to enjoy this. I can see where people are going to hate it, but I can totally also see where people are really going to like this movie. So I think the only way to really know that is to actually go out and watch it. So,
yeah, I mean, I think I kind of understand what you're saying. I would kind of do the same two-pronged recommendation. Like, as crazy as it sounds, again, because I'm kind of a horror nut, I'm going to bypass my own opinion. I think for most horror nuts, you're probably not going to like this movie very much. I think for like the average person that like might see it on like in a Redbox scenario or like on a Netflix or something like that, I think the average movie goer might fire this up and be as happy with it as I was. And I know I'm kind of straddling both sides of the fence in that scenario because I enjoyed it and I'm a horror nut. But I think this one's going to appeal to a lot more average horror fans than like hardcore horror fans.
yeah, it's a weird one to pin down for whatever reason. I think it's just the way everything is put together to make the film. It just that's a weird thing. Hard to talk about.
Hard to talk about, but it does come out on April 1st. But that's it, right?
It's hard to say without really breaking it down and getting into the nitty gritty, and we don't want to do that, and we can't do that. So.
Right.
So, yeah.